At Jewelers Mutual, we're a little obsessed with jewelry. Obsessed like auctioneers with talking fast.
50, we're going to fit
Pop stars with auto-tune. And dentists with asking questions.
So, how did he propose?
After they've put their hands in your mouth.
Great.
Yes, we've made jewelry our obsession for over 100 years. We love it so much we named our kids Ruby, Amber, and Opal.
Venti soy latte for Opal?
At Jewelers Mutual, we insure jewelry and only jewelry, which is why people who are also obsessed with jewelry trust us with theirs.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
What's up, everyone? Freddie the Pizza Man here, host of the Pizza Man podcast. Now joining forces with ChristopherMedia.net. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, the Pizza Man podcast. And, of course, find all the podcasts on ChristopherMedia.net. We talk Detroit sports. I bring on guests, passions, opinions, all for Detroit sports and more. We even talk pizza. So thanks for tuning in and spread the word.
Christopher Media, let's make some noise. Welcome to Beer Nuts, a weekly excursion into the world of craft beer. Brought to you by MichiganBeerGuide.com. And now, here are the Beer Nuts.
All right, welcome to Beer Nuts, number 108. I'm Chris.
This is Dugout here in Michigan, the only one here in Michigan this evening. I am Lieutenant Dang here holding it down the fort in southwest Missouri, Springfield to be exact.
And this is Ross in Durham, North Carolina.
Yeah, and today's show all about Prairie Artisan Ales, and it's fitting that I am in Kansas for this show. I do want to tell you, guys, real quick before we start off, the bottle shop that was recommended by both you and John, Dan, man, great place. I guess it's been voted like the top bottle shop in Kansas like 3 years in a row. And yeah, I don't think there's anything in there I couldn't get. I mean, it's a crazy nuts place, and they had tons of Prairie. So
yeah, it's a killer shop. Why don't you give them a shout out with their name? Is it Goebel?
Goebel's, yes. Home of Rob's Beer Cave, I believe it said on the sign. Oh, that place was crazy. The cooler was unbelievable. And it was nice to see there was like a whole door of Michigan beers, which I thought was kind of cool. Because I guess we've talked about it before. I guess Michigan's kind of respected in the craft beer community. But we're not talking about Michigan. Today we're talking about Prairie. Prairie is from Oklahoma, I believe, Dan?
Yeah, they're actually now they have, I don't know if their headquarters is still in Krebs, but it's kind of over towards the Oklahoma City area. Go to Tulsa, keep on way out past Tulsa to the west. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, but they have a few brew pubs too, so they do have some locations in Tulsa.
Dan's really breaking up.
I couldn't tell you the exact locations of all of them, but I've been to a couple. And nice to jump out a little bit. They're in the middle, all over the middle of nowhere.
Hey, Dan, you keep breaking up. I believe you said you're the one in your basement, correct?
Yeah, is that any better? Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes, sir.
All right, well, yeah, Prairie's kind of all over Oklahoma, but we're in Krebs, and I'm not sure if that's still where they have their headquarters, Krebs or Oklahoma City, but they have brew pubs in Tulsa, and they got a few different locations that you can find around the middle of the state, middle of nowhere, Oklahoma. It gets, a couple of big cities, Oklahoma City and Tulsa, and then it gets very rural, very country, very fast.
That tends to be the pattern out in this part of the country. But so we're going to start off with our beer quote for the week, and then we're just going to roll right into this because we have some delicious beers. I may have already started drinking ahead, just saying. But I believe this week's beer quote is, Camel can work for 10 days without drinking, but I can work for 10 days without working. Oh, damn it! I can drink for 10 days without working. It's all the delivery, folks. I messed it up right away. See what happens with these 13%ers. All right. So I believe, Dugout, you have our first beer of the day.
All right, I do. I went really, really light for Prairie Artisan tonight. Most of their beers are big and thick and chewy and motor oil, and they have lots of coffee and chocolate and cinnamon and all kinds of adjuncts in them. This particular beer does not. It does have some adjuncts, but it's called Color Block. It's a hazy IPA with vanilla and orange zest. It's clocking in at a pretty svelte 8.3. So a little bit about the beer itself. It's considered a milkshake IPA, and it's brewed with Warrior and Citra hops for a smooth citrus bitterness that doesn't linger. It does have lactose sugar for the mouthfeel, and the beer is fermented on Cara, Satsuma, and navel oranges. I've heard of navel oranges. I'm not really familiar with the others. And then it has has vanilla added and a double dose of Citra during the dry hops. So yes, it pours as advertised. It's a sort of a hazy gold orange color. Nice head with some beautiful lacing on it. And the nose, I get some of the vanilla in the nose. I get some of the orange in the nose, but I'm also getting. I could be wrong, but it's possible they used a Belgian yeast in this because it has some of those esters, sort of that banana type clove nose to it. Now the taste has got sort of an orange bitterness up front to it. And I think I do believe they use Belgian yeast in this because it definitely has a Belgian flavor to it. It has some balance, and the vanilla is not very present in the flavor, which to me is good. I mean, I think too much vanilla in an IPA kills it really, really fast. And the same with the orange zest. Orange is done very tastefully. It's not like an orange juice bomb. I mean, it's there and it adds to it. It's got sort of a nice bitter finish, and as advertised, does not linger. Now, for this being an 8.3, it's definitely well masked. This is very drinkable and very crushable. So this could be a very dangerous beer. Artwork on the can is awesome. They do great artwork, and it is canned. So I was kind of surprised. I don't typically see cans of Prairie Artisan. But guys, I'll tell you what, man, I'd give this probably a 4.25 out of 5. I definitely rank it pretty high. It's delicious, and I know they're not known for their IPAs, but this is just really, really well done. And I'm not always the biggest fan of milkshake beers. I think the flavors don't always mesh, and they're sort of thick, and they just don't taste right. But this one does, and I think that whatever Belgian yeast they're using in it, just sets the right tone for the orange used in the beer.
It sounds delicious.
Yeah, I would.
There's out a can of that.
It. Yeah. Yep.
All right. So going from the lighter fare to the darker fare. It sounds like I have something here that is more typical of their style. I have Birthday Bomb. And reading right from the bottle here, it's an imperial aged. Wait, no, sorry. Wow, again, 13%, guys. I can't read. Imperial stout aged with coffee, cocoa nibs, vanilla beans, and chili peppers. Our pre-show chat, I was telling you guys it looks like motor oil, and yeah, I mean this may possibly be the darkest beer I've ever had. I mean this is pretty much black. A lot of stouts are kind of your brown or your dark brown. I mean, this is black. I mean, and it's sticking to the glass quite nicely, and you stick your nose in it. I mean, right away, the coffee just punching you right in the nose. You get a little whiff of the chocolate, but it's pretty much a lot of the coffee, and then it's kind of sweeter at the end. But then again, too, I mean, the stout kind of goes with the territory. And taking a sip of this, Dugout says they like to make beers you can chew. This would be no exception. And it is. You get the cocoa nibs, like kind of up front, the coffee in the middle, and then those chili peppers kick in right in the back. This is really good. This is, yeah, Doug, you gave a high rating to your first beer. I would definitely say this probably top 5 stouts I've had. And yeah, the label, their artwork it reminds me of Shorts in a sense that the artwork on everything is different and unique. It's not the same kind of style as the art, but yeah, I noticed that when I was at the bottle shop, just looking at just every single bottle has it's a unique design, and yeah, I'm glad I got turned on to this beer here. I mean, Prairie, I have a feeling going to be sampling a lot more Prairie as the fall wears on here.
I'm curious as to what the cost on that bottle was. Now, is that a 12-ounce bottle?
Yep. At 13% ABV, it cost me $10.
Okay, all right. Because when I was shopping for some beer this afternoon, and I knew that Off the Wagon, which is a little store right by the house, I knew they would have some, and I went in there. They had quite a bit of selection, and then they had a mixed 4-pack of bottles. So it was priced at $37, and I was like, ooh, it's not payday today. Otherwise, I might just go back and get them.
Well, I tell you, I'm even though I paid $10 for a 12-ounce bottle, I know I am not going to feel slighted. I mean, especially, yeah, I'll finish this one. I'll feel like I drank a 6-pack of regular beer. So, all right, up next, we have Lieutenant Dan.
All right. Well, I am going to be drinking a Prairie Dogs beer, and that is the term they give to their membership bottles line. So you can pay, I forget how much theirs is. I want to say $500, and I have no idea how many bottles that gets you. But you pay an amount up front that guarantees you a certain number of releases and a certain number of beers. It's usually around 15 bottles, 12 to 15 bottles, just kind of depends on what you got and who you're with. Because lots of different breweries do this around the country. It's becoming more and more popular. And so Prairie Dogs is the name of their private membership. And I don't know when they release their membership, when it comes up for renewal. But obviously the last year's members get the first preference to join in for next year. And then they put it open to the public after that. Something really unique and cool that Prairie does, and I don't know if anybody else does this or not, is they take this base stout recipe that is 14%er, and they sell only to the Prairie Dog members. You can buy you have to buy one whole barrel of this Prairie Dog beer, this stout. And then they have a certain number of barrels available. When it's gone, it's gone. And last year they had either bourbon barrel stout or a rum barrel aged stout. And then you got to decide when the time came to add whatever adjuncts, additional flavors you wanted to yourself. So this particular bottle is called, and you get to name the beer yourself, which is pretty cool. This one is called Booty Call, and it is a rum barrel, vanilla, coconut, and cocoa nibs. I've seen all kinds of different crazy versions, and the list of adjuncts is all over the map, from chilies and marshmallows and vanilla and coconut, just whatever they have, they can get their hands on that'll work. They'll put it in there. And then this year I saw that they're doing bourbon barrels, apple brandy barrels, and I'm drawing a blank off the top of my head, but it wasn't rum. It was something different than rum. Maybe I'll look that up before the end of the show. But a friend of mine down in Texas who's a member, he bought a barrel, and after tax and everything, it comes to almost just a shade under $4,000 for the whole barrel.
Wow. That's
but then what a lot of guys do is they get it all in bottles and they create a group and it's crazy. But what they do is they sell it off. They create a group and the group decides on the adjuncts and then they sell it off to everybody at whatever breaks up. Usually it's around $10 or $11 a bottle, maybe $12 a bottle, depending on your yield from each barrel, because the adjuncts, if you did like graham cracker crumbs, well, guess what? That graham cracker is going to soak up a ton of liquid. So don't do graham crackers if anybody's out there in a prayer. So really, if you think about it, Chris just bought one off the shelf at a killer liquor bottle shop, and it was $10. Well, this is a custom, unique bottle created by the brewery for just you personally, or your group, or whatever, and it was $10 or $11 a bottle. So it's a pretty unique opportunity. So, sorry, I was long-winded here. Let me get into the beer. Like Chris said, it's motor oil. It's pitch black as night. Thick as all get out. Right off the top, you get a little bit of the booziness of the rum barrel, which is like it's hot in the vapors of like a good rum or bourbon. And then it immediately hits your mouth lips. It's just this cocoa. It's that toffee sweetness, and then it goes down. I mean, it's just thick. It coats your whole palate. It's like a little bit of vanilla. It's not a lot of vanilla. I've had some before that are vanilla bombs. This is just a nice little touch of great beers. I've been fortunate enough to, like I said, have a friend that's a Prairie dog, and he's really hooked me up with a few more than he should have. But if you ever get a chance, the ones they sell in the store, their barrel aging program has just been on fire. I know I've said this 2 or 3 times before, but it's been on fire lately. Probably something you said, Chris, about the label art. I love their label art because, while every different single one is totally unique and different, it's custom drawn or custom created for every different beer. When you see them on a shelf, it somehow works, and you know that's probably going to be a Prairie beer you're looking at, even if you're out of market in a brand new. You can just tell the uniqueness of the label, and you get a little closer. You go, oh, yep, the artwork. You can tell if you're going into a new market or something, or a new shop. I don't like it when within one brand there's lots and lots. Okay, that's the Lagunitas section. That's the Sierra Nevada section. That's the Prairie. That's the New Belgium. Without having to look at every single individual package that's in there, But I mean, that's just me. Everybody has different strokes for different folks. But I just dug. Did I lose you? Yep. Okay, we'll move on. When Prairie first came into my market in Joplin, Missouri, where I used to live, is about an hour and a half. It's like 80 some miles from Tulsa. But we could not get any Prairie. And now that I live in Springfield, Missouri, which is just an hour farther east, we've got lots of Prairie available to us. At first, it was just kind of, they do a lot of lighter sour stuff, really more saison, farmhouse type stuff, Prairie Gold or Prairie Funk or different versions of, and this is market is like, but part of that reason, the difference between the Joplin market versus Springfield isn't because of Prairie's like demand. It's because that it's a distributor. They go through an awesome distributor, Shelton Brothers, who distributes nationwide. They only go into markets where they can bring in big truckloads of their product that they know is going to sell all at one time. So Joplin's just kind of too small of a market where they don't really bring in very much, whereas Springfield's a lot bigger, and they do. So if you're a city that might have a better Shelton Brothers footprint. So I used to know more of the Shelton Brothers family of products. If you're small like Joplin, it's going to be hard pressed for them to get a whole lot down to you versus a bigger city. So get a barrel-aged Prairie if you can. Chris? Okay. Yeah.
I'm here.
All right. All right. There's my take on Prairie for you, and booty call from Prairie Dogs.
Right. Just so you know, Dan, your connection wasn't that great during that. We caught most of what you said.
Ah, no.
Yeah,
right,
there might be some edits in there.
Oh, what a bummer.
No, like Chris said, we can get the most of it. So you may just have to slice out a few dead spots, but it'll be all right.
All right.
Editing for.
Magic. Now that brings us to the magic of Ross.
Okay. So I'm going to do a BA Bible Belt. It's going to be a motor oil. This is probably my third favorite Prairie beer. Pours, again, like we just said, very dark, thick, viscous. The smell on it is, you get the bourbon there, you get vanilla, you get coffee. It's got all the big flavors that Dugout mentioned earlier. It's one of their typical stout mixes. This one's actually a collaboration with Evil Twin, but it is, again, one of my favorites from Prairie. Giving it a taste. So you get on the taste a lot more chocolate than you got on the smell. It's got a real desserty fudge brownie, and then the vanilla's there as well. And you get that little prairie pepper kick at the end as well, which is not quite on. You don't get the pepper on the smell, but you definitely get it at the end of the mouth. It is nice and thick and full and creamy, and this is one delicious beer. I said it's my third favorite, and that's only because I really love the apple brandy barrel. That stuff's really good. And then Dan, one time, I guess maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, sent me a bottle of Pure Magic called Branson Jamboree, and that stuff was amazing. But this is right there, and this is very drinkable. And again, unfortunately, I think it usually comes in around, in my area, $11.99 for a bottle of it. Maybe a little more depending on which store. And you don't get much of it. It's one of those deals around here where it's going to be a bottle or two limit where whoever has it on sale, whoever actually gets it in, whenever they get it in stock, they'll post a picture on Facebook, and then it's gone in a couple hours at most. But back to the beer itself, it is this It's a typical Prairie sipper. You're going to work on it for a while, but you're going to enjoy it the whole time. This is definitely falls in the more desserty category. Definitely, it's got a nice strong chocolate taste to it, and all the elements come through in the taste in one way or another, and it's got that nice little pepper kick at the end. And while it is a 13%er, I wouldn't necessarily say it tastes that heavy. Because it's got the
same thing with mine. Mine was not boozy at all.
It's got all that other stuff going on, and it ends up not being, well, this I've had for a while too. I've had this bottle for a year or so. It's got all that stuff going on, and it all works really well without being too boozy. So I really, really enjoy this. And the other one I wish I could have reviewed, but I didn't have any of it. Which is probably my favorite, not easy to get, but I can get it regularly, is the apple brandy barrel noir. That stuff is magic to me as well. But this is a close second.
Well, JR's drinking along. You know, he can't join us tonight, but he sent us a picture. That's what JR's drinking right now. So he's drinking with us in spirit.
As is Uncle Pete. He tried to get in and couldn't, so
he's drinking what I was talking about. Okay.
So, man, Prairie. Gotta say, I'm impressed. Dan, you have mentioned this brewery 100 times, and this is my first time actually trying. So I gotta say, I'm very impressed. I will definitely try to seek this out whether I'm at home or whether I'm out here in the middle of in the heartland where it's a little bit more available. Definitely going to be putting more Prairie on my shopping list.
And something they do, I talked about it on the show previously because it was this was the first year we got bottles of the deconstructed. So they do the deconstructed event, which is the Prairie Bomb, but they'll have each keg will just have one of the major components of it. One of it's just the base plus the pepper, the base plus the vanilla, the base plus the chocolate, whatever, and you can kind of mix them to your own taste. Depending on how the bar that's doing it is set up, they'll let you do that. Sometimes you don't have as much leeway to play around depending on which bottle shop you're at. But they actually distributed the deconstructed in cases this year, right? So they actually had like little 12 packs that was 3 of each one.
We got
bottles of it.
That's what I was mentioning earlier. That was the mixed 4-pack that I saw.
Yeah, okay.
It was a deconstructed 4-pack, and they were all 4 different, and it was $37 for the 4-pack. And I thought, well, I'll come back on Friday when I have a few extra bucks and pick that up.
Yeah, they sold those all of those in singles at my bottle shop for I think $8.99 or $8.49 a bottle. So you could buy as many as you wanted of whichever version you wanted. So that's pretty cool.
In our area, like I said, some of the bottle shops had deconstructed events where everything was on tap, and you could just mix it to whatever proportions you wanted, depending on the bottle shop.
Yeah, that's cool. I've never heard of that before.
That was kind of fun too. So we went. A friend of mine and I went a little pepper heavy, on one of them. We're just doing. It was nice to be able to just mix 3 of the ingredients and see what that felt like. So anyway.
Okay, so this week we don't have a hipster tipster per se, but Dan, you were saying that you had a little bit of beer news.
Oh yeah,
show meeting.
Sure. If you're anywhere near St. Louis, my neck of the woods. Perennial is going to be releasing their society. It's got some hipster Belgium name that I can't pronounce, so I'm not going to try. But their member bottles are, you get 12 bottles, and you just get 1 bottle of each. They are all barrel aged, and you have to pick them up. They have a very short window that you have to pick them up. It's $380, I think, or ish in that range, for all those 12 bottles throughout the year. So you're basically just prepaying for your beer. But that's the only way you can get those beers. They're really, 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 really almost certainly very hard to get a hold of otherwise. Like a barrel-aged Abraxas or barrel-aged Sump, barrel-aged 17, another Belgian-style, light. But that is going on sale. It's going to be that'll be this Friday coming up. But then Monday, August 27th, if there's any memberships left remaining, those will go on sale online. If you can get there Friday, you can be there in person. You can have it. It's a way to reward their local fans, local patrons, which I appreciate. But it really stinks because it means that Monday morning there might only be a couple of spots open, so I might be SOL on Monday. But it's great opportunity to get 12 barrel-aged perennial beers that you can't get any other way except for if they put them on tap at the tasting room once in a while. So it's a good deal.
All right. So anybody else have anything to add?
Yeah,
Prairie is delicious.
I was going to say in news in North Carolina, it's that time of year down here. So Foothills is the barrel-aged sexual chocolate releases this coming weekend. And this year they're releasing a variant of it where they've added coffee. So we're heading out to Winston-Salem on Saturday morning and hopefully score some. The other thing they do for their releases is they'll set up a Randall and they'll put whatever interesting things in that they want to and run the sexual chocolate through that. And then had some pretty good results coming out of that as well. So last year it was kind of funny. If you were there too early, the Randall wasn't working. And then I ended up getting there later than I normally do. And my friends had already picked up their cases and left. And I was like, man, you guys didn't tell me this stuff was in the Randall. This is really good. And they were, what are you talking about? And so sometimes it pays to be a little bit. But anyway, yeah, that's this coming Saturday, and we're looking forward to this new variant they've added where they've taken the barrel-aged sexual chocolate and actually made a barrel-aged coffee sexual chocolate. So we'll see how it comes out.
So, and for those who don't know what a Randall is, it's a way of running the beer line straight through an adjunct. A lot of times it might be done with fresh hops or with other types of adjuncts to add a particular flavor without adding it into the keg. It's an external device that hooks up to a tap line.
Yeah, from what I know about a Randallizer, I remember JR talking about was Greenbush does the ice cream flavors every year.
Yep.
So I have yet to encounter a Randallizer in person. I'm gonna have to do that one day.
Yeah, my beer club has one. I could always borrow it. That might be a fun episode at the house. Randallize everything.
Yeah. Taking all kinds of shit, just putting it in the beer. Here, try this, try this, try this. All right. So, it's been an interesting episode. Learned about a neat new brewery. Definitely going to be, more of this will be in my fridge. Yeah, JR, Uncle Pete, they're with us in spirit. This is the part where I just remind you to follow us on Twitter at Beer Nuts Podcast or on Instagram at Beer Nuts Podcast. You can always email the show, beernutspodcast at christophermedia.net. Who wants to do Mexico City? I'm not sure I have the pipes for it. JR's got that nice deep baritone. I don't feel I'd be doing it justice.
I can give it another go. I've done it once before.
There you go. You even got the experience, Doug.
All right, here we go. To Mexico. And as they say in old Mexico City, AMF.
If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook by searching for Christopher Media. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Thank you in advance for supporting Christopher Media by clicking on the PayPal button and by clicking through to all the sponsors who support ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net, and thank you for listening. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the name your price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.